Okay, good morning, and here we have an assignment, some review problems. The PDFs are attached. So good morning, and for the first one we have find the discriminant of each quadratic equation, then state the number and type of solution. So the discriminant is the b squared minus 4ac part that is underneath the radical sign of your quadratic equation. So in this case, b squared is going to be negative 2, the quantity squared, minus 4 times the a is the negative 1 in front of our x squared, and times the c, which is 7. So we have b squared minus 4ac, that's 4, minus, and that's going to be a plus, and that's 28. And I made a mistake. They caught me off guard, and I was going to emphasize this before I started. This is wrong, because we have an 8 here. This has to be set equal to 0 first. So we're going to subtract the 8 from each side, and that gives us negative x squared minus 2x minus 1 is equal to 0. Now we're going to find the discriminant. So be careful of that. Check that it's equal to 0 first. So that's b squared minus 4ac. And that's negative 2, the quantity squared, minus 4 times a negative 1, again the negative 1 in front of the x squared, times the negative 1. Well, negative 2 squared is 4, minus is going to be minus, and it's 4 times 1 times 1, that's 4 minus 1, and that's 0. And then since, and it's asking us state the number and type of solution, since the square root part of your quadratic equation was a negative b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Well, plus or minus is 0, so it's not going to change. So we only have one real solution in this case, okay, because this plus and minus isn't going to plus and minus anything. So it's not going to give us two different equations or two different solutions, okay? So try 2, 3, and 4. And then check your answers with the separate uploaded PDF that has the answers on it. Okay, number 5. Find the value of c that completes the square. Remember that in order to complete the square, we're going to take b divided by 2 and then square it. So in this case, it's negative 4. So we're going to take negative 4 divided by 2 and square it. So that's negative 2. Negative 4 divided by 2 is negative 2. That's negative 2 squared, which is 4. So the c would be 4 to complete this square. Okay, try 6, 7, and 8. And again, 8 comes out as a fraction. So that's good practice for you. Okay, number 9. Again, they're tricking you a little bit here. Solve each equation by completing the square. Notice this is not set equal to 0 yet. So we're going to have to subtract 11n squared from each side, and we're going to subtract that from the like terms. So that gives us 2n squared minus 14n minus 102 is equal to 0. And I have no idea how to factor this, so I'm going to go through the completing the square part, which again, this is a 2 in front. In order to complete the square, we have to divide everything by 2. And so that's n squared minus 7n minus 51 is equal to 0. Again, I don't see any way to factor this. And so I'm going to complete the square. That means add the 51 each side, take the negative 7, divide it by 2. That's b divided by 2 squared to complete the square. That's going to be negative 7 over 2, and then square that, which means 49/4 I'm going to add to each side. So I'm also going to have to add the 49/4 to the right hand side, and this is going to be plus the 49/4 on the left hand side. This is all gone. So I'm going to move that up over here. I've got n squared minus 7n plus 49/4 is equal to 51 plus 49/4. That would be annoying. That's 12 1/4. That's 63 1/4, which is actually, this is 204/4 plus 49 is what, 253/4. Okay. Check that with a calculator, make sure I'm doing that right. Okay, so now we have difference of squares, or a perfect square, I should say. So this becomes n minus 7/4 times 7/2 times n minus 7/2, and that's the whole point of doing that, is equal to 253/4. So n minus 7/2, the quantity squared, equals 253/4. So I'm going to square root each side. So that gives me n minus 7/2 is equal to the square root of 253/4. Remember, I can take the square root of the numerator separately from the denominator. So the square root of 4 is 2. Then I'm going to add 7/2 to each side, and that's going to give me, and plus this is positive or negative. I forgot about that. It's the positive and negative square root. That gives us two answers. So n is equal to 7/2 plus or minus the square root of 253/2, or you could write that as either that, or n is equal to 7 plus or minus square root of 253/2, and I don't think that reduces this 253 square root. And then you can try 10 through 14 again. Be careful that first you set it up equal to 0, and then that you get divide such that you get a coefficient of 1 in front of your square. So right there, that's good. This has a coefficient of -1, and but this one, number 10, we got an 8, so you're going to have to simplify that first. And good luck. Again, the answers are included on the separate PDF.